Allora, che facciamo per questo video?
I think we should do a garden tour, starting at the top and coming all the way down and just showing everybody what's in the garden. I mean, everybody likes it when we do that in Positano, and it's a very, very different property.
Sì, sì, è molto diverso. Anche penso non abbiamo mai fatto vedere un tour del
I
giardino.
don't think so. No.
Ok,
Okay, right, let's go up to the beginning and start there. Of course, as soon as we've decided to do that, it's starting to rain, can you believe?
vabbè, questo non è pioggia, sono due gocce, dai.
Hopefully, it won't get any stronger.
Ok, questo è l'inizio del giardino. Come potete vedere l'erba adesso è morta perché è agosto. Lì c'è il segno di dove ho incendiato tutte le frasche di oliva.
And we have 3.8 acres of land here. So it's divided into various sections. So there's olive groves, and I sort of divide the olive groves into three parts. So there's this bit here where they're planted very, very tightly and close together. They're too close together. In fact, the people who came to harvest the olives with us last year said that some of them should be taken out because they shouldn't all be turning into a big bush at the top. But it's nice to walk through.
Sì, chi le ha messe lì pensava che rimanevano piccole e non crescevano, invece
Yeah.
sono cresciute e non ha tenuto conto quanto crescevano.
Yeah, and in fact, the problem is that olive trees in the middle don't get enough light. So when we did the harvest last year, there weren't many olives at all in the middle, were
No,
there?
praticamente sono gli alberi che fanno meno olive perché rimangono al buio e non prendono la luce.
In fact, this one's been taken out.
Questo è un buon esempio che vi fa capire quanto sono invincibili gli alberi di olivi. Praticamente qualcuno ha tagliato l'albero là principale, che si vede che era bello grande come questi altri, e poi sono ricresciuti tutti questi mini alberi. Ovviamente si potrebbero tagliare tutti e rimanerne uno solo, però questo è un lavoro che non è stato fatto da noi, era già così, quindi l'abbiamo lasciato così per il momento.
What have you found?
Anche a sbattere addosso. Au!
Oh, sorry.
Ho avuto proprio in faccia sul naso. Qui invece, in questa zona, abbiamo deciso di parcheggiare tutta la legna che ho tagliato nel bosco. Praticamente qui c'era già una vecchia baracca, l'ho risistemata quando c'era mio fratello Stick qua. E prima qua dovevano avere degli animali, non so, tipo una conigliera o le galline.
In fact, over here, look, there's a animal hutch. I'm not sure what animal that's for. It's quite small for chickens. So this is an apple tree. Now they're not doing very well, and there's not many apples on there at all. I think they're getting eaten by birds or worms or something, so that needs to be looked into. This is a cherry tree, and same again, the cherries grow and they look like they're doing really well, and then suddenly we come back one day and there's not one single cherry on the tree. So I think the birds are eating them all. So we're going to eventually need to figure out how we can get fruits off our trees without the birds getting there first. Here the road divides, so this obviously goes down to the front of the house, and then down here it takes us into the second olive grove, and there's a few little hidden things here that we found a few months after we moved in. Come and take a look. Okay, so this is our second little olive grove, and there's two things that I found in here that are interesting. One, this tree over here, this bush that's growing up like all plaited into the tree. This is a avocado. No, it's not. Asparagus plant. And this plant produces the biggest, fattest asparaguses, and there's loads of them. Normally when we go asparagus hunting, which is around about March, April, each plant will give like 1 or 2 asparaguses. This gives about 10. It's enough for a meal for 2 people, and they're big, long, fat ones. They're really good. So every year I come here and I search around the base and pick all of these lovely, beautiful asparaguses.
E c'è qui in questo angolo, abbiamo scoperto quando, dopo un po', dopo qualche mese, che c'è una piccola capanna e un lavandino. Praticamente penso che qui prima era il posto dove tenevano gli attrezzi, anni fa, non so quanto.
So the funny thing is, I found this when I was actually searching online for a white ceramic sink for the kitchen, and I was wandering around the garden, and I noticed the white like flashing. It was all covered in bushes, but it's not really ideal for the kitchen, so we've left it here. And then we have this very spooky little shed, which doesn't seem to have anything interesting in it apart from rubbish. We haven't really looked into it, to be honest with you. And there's also a second little shed around here. It's very overgrown and you can see very tumble down. No idea what's in there. It's funny because I often watched videos of people with big properties that find hidden buildings and stuff on their properties that they didn't know about and then they've never discovered and never gone into. And I've always thought, well, how weird. I would go in there. I would want to know what was in it, whether there was anything in there and have a look around. And now I've actually got one myself. And now I sort of get that I don't really want to go in there. I mean, I am curious whether there is anything hidden around the back, but I suppose we can go at any time when we're really, really bored one day. We'll see what's in there.
Qui invece abbiamo un bellissimo albero di mimosa, molto grande, abbastanza alto. L'anno scorso l'abbiamo visto in fioritura.
So some animal has been scratching against here. Now, Carlo says it's Indy, but I don't think it is because Indy tends to jump and scratch higher than that. I think that's some other animal. I don't think that's Indy.
Non lo so, io ho pensato che era Indy.
Let's test her. Indy! Squirrel! Minnie! Squirrel! Squirrel! Here! Come on!
È qua, guarda, qui.
This is not her tree.
No.
It could be that badger, because this is where the badger came the other day. I was here and it came dashing past me and it just like went off over there somewhere, but maybe this is where the badger comes.
Dobbiamo prendere una camera per vedere gli animali notturni qua.
See. Continuing down here, we obviously end up back at the house, but this is also where the bee garden's going to be one day. Also, these big water containers are dotted around the property and we're not using them at the moment, but when we actually start up our vegetable garden, which we will be doing, they're going to be really, really useful. So I know they're ugly and they're not nice to see, but they're really, really handy.
Questa invece è una vite spontanea che non fa l'uva però. Cresce dappertutto qua, è proprio pieno. Questa invece è la capanna di legno che abbiamo ereditato dai vecchi proprietari. Per il momento non l'abbiamo ancora usata, però magari un giorno decidiamo di, non so, di farci qualcosa.
And this is where we think we're going to be keeping our bees in the future. And this is going to be our bee garden flower bed, which is this a weed? Questa è una pianta o una... No.
No.
So that needs to be pulled up.
Quella è una cosa da tirare via e basta.
Ecco.
Che pianta pensavi che era?
Non lo so, I thought it was a weed, but I just wasn't sure. There's another one here.
Quindi se mettiamo le patate non riesci a capire se sono patate o se sono...
Potatoes, I know. What about that? Is that another one of these?
Sì.
Well, where did these come from?
Non lo so.
Okay, I'm going to throw these down our hole. So basically, when was Stick here? February, March? We had the landslides because it was really, really heavy rain. And we actually had a little landslide here. It's taken a whole chunk of the garden away. It's a great place to throw all your rubbish though. Obviously, compostable rubbish is what I mean. Woohoo! And here we can go back up to the house. I'll just show you so you can orientate yourselves. There we go. So that's where we are now. And here's our little jacuzzi area.
E alle mie spalle c'è il viale che porta giù nel bosco, dove mi piace passare tanto tempo. Invece questo giardino qua sotto, proprio sotto la nostra casa, non è nostro. 1, 2, 3 giardini. Poi dopo questi 3 giardini il resto poi è nostro.
Once upon a time, this property was very, very big and it was owned by one family. When they got old and died, they left it to their children. I think there was about 5 or 6 kids and they all inherited a piece of land. So the property was divided and we ended up buying one part of it. Our friend and neighbour Giovanni owns another part of it, and this big garden down here right in front of the house is actually Giovanni's, not ours. But it's not a problem because if we want to go for a walk there, he has no problem with that whatsoever. It's like we all walk in and out of each other's land and nobody shuts gates or slams the door in your face. Everybody's very, very friendly here, which is really nice. So Giovanni owns this one, and then down below there's 2 more. They're like terraces going down the hillside. So he's got 1, 2, 3. They've all got olive trees on them. And then below his, we have some more, 2 or 3, I can never remember. And that's what Carlo was clearing last winter. So we've got some old olive trees down there as well. And that leads into our woodland area. I think we'll go. So the bottom terrace here is where we had a landslide earlier on this year, so that's completely blocked off at the moment. Carlo has redug out, you can see where all the landslide went, but he's dug it back out here. So we've got access again to this pathway and the terrace above, where there's some old olive trees up there. The nice thing about this is it's a great morning walk with dogs. It takes about 15-20 minutes, that's all, but it's perfect for just a little quick walk when you've got other things to do. There's another terrace here that is completely overgrown again. He did so much work this winter clearing all of these terraces, and they're just all sprouted up with bamboos and acacia, and I think all of the work has almost been lost. But yeah, it's a lovely walk to do. It obviously is, it's not, the whole 20-minute walk is not all our property. We come off our property and we go through the property of a man called Beppe, and then we come onto a little side track. Luckily, we never come across anybody on these walks because I'm normally in some sort of bizarre outfit or other like this, or my pyjamas and wellies. This is my anti-horsefly outfit, and I think I should patent it and copyright it because it works really, really well. There are a lot of horseflies around at this time of year, especially in the woods, and this is the best thing I found. This is a hat that I got with a net on it in the local garden centre, and just a simple, very, very lightweight sarong that isn't too hot to drape around me. With bright colours, because apparently the horseflies are attracted to black. And the funny thing is, I go around on walks like this without really thinking about it now, and every now and again somebody looks at me as if I'm mad. But I've noticed other people on walks, for example, Claire the other day, we went for a walk and she was head to toe in coloured lycra, which was hilarious. And then we met with a couple of people with those electric tennis rackets that sort of electrocute the flies that are just walking around like this. So it's really interesting to see how everybody copes with the horseflies. But this is what I have found works best. Let's go into the back garden where the pool is, have a quick look around that area, and then I need to change because there's horseflies down in the woods and I want something more protective. Now, when we saw the advert of the house, there was a little red maple tree here like this one. And then when we came to see the house, there wasn't a red maple tree here. I think it had died or they'd taken it or something. So we actually went and bought another one because I just thought the colours look really nice. I love that red just clashing with everything else. Here we also have some lavender, and this is normally where I have my basil, but it seems to have all vanished. Indy, don't eat the strawberries. And there's a lovely strawberry down there, and we've got, yeah, quite a few strawberry plants. Ah, we'll have that.
Si può andare in giardino anche da questa parte.
All of these lavender plants need to be trimmed back now. This is the rose bush we bought at the market that looked a bit sick when we took it out of the packaging, but it seems to be doing absolutely fine now. And we're in the back garden.
Sono passati ormai più di 3 mesi da quando abbiamo preso queste piante e sembra che stanno abbastanza bene. Ovviamente ha fatto davvero tanto caldo e noi non ci siamo stati, quindi hanno avuto acqua ma non a sufficienza, ma sono ancora tutte vive.
I'm quite pleased that this Billy Buttons has actually produced some more buttons, which is nice. But this one here is looking a little bit sickly. Hopefully it will get back to good health.
Qui dentro avevamo messo una bellissima pianta di petunie che adesso praticamente si è mezza seccata, stanno sì riuscendo dei fiori, ma abbiamo capito che forse è meglio mettere una pianta grassa qua dentro, qualcosa di più facile da crescere sotto il sole e con meno acqua.
Here we have, and we've just looked this up on Google, this is a bird of paradise shrub. Very, very pretty alien looking flower that was already here. So that always is growing well and seems to flower on and off throughout the summer.
Queste sono invece le canne indiche che abbiamo messo lì, sempre comprate al mercato, quel giorno a Vico Pisano, e non sono molto, diciamo, in salute. Sono un po' bruttine, ma magari è solo perché ha fatto davvero tanto caldo. Abbiamo visto queste piante nell'orto dei nostri vicini e sono molto belle. Qui invece sembra che non vogliono stare bene. Vediamo in futuro. Questa qui invece è la pianta di datura portata da Positano che sembra praticamente morta. Io non credo che è morta, però vediamo un po' anche questo nel futuro. Per il momento sembra davvero messa molto male. Questa è una pianta di mandaville e questa sembra che sta abbastanza bene. Ovviamente, siccome il terreno è molto diverso da quello che abbiamo a Positano, questo è un terreno molto sabbioso che diventa duro quando è asciutto, è molto morbido come il fango quando è bagnato. E io non so se queste piante vanno bene con questo tipo di terreno. A Positano questa va bene, non esattamente a casa nostra, perché questa ha bisogno di tanto sole, ma a casa di mia madre ce n'è una bellissima. Quindi non lo so, anche questo dobbiamo vedere, sono degli esperimenti, noi piantiamo le piante e poi vediamo che cosa succede. Questa è una pianta di mirto e sta benissimo. Non solo questa, tutte le piante di mirto stanno molto bene. Anche la gaura sta benissimo. Questa qua con i fiori mischiati, doppio colore, è davvero molto bella.
Yeah, I want to get that and plant more of it all along there. I think that will look nice.
E anche questa pianta, di cui non conosco veramente il nome, ma quando l'abbiamo presa al mercato c'aveva dei bellissimi fiori bianchi. Alcuni di voi hanno capito che pianta era, io ancora no. E sta bene, è solo ovviamente delle foglie si sono un po' annerite perché fa davvero tanto caldo. Però qui ci sono i getti nuovi con delle foglie nuove. Potete vedere sono davvero belle verdi e in salute.
We are not sure how our olive harvest is going to be this year. We might not get much oil at all because there's been two problems this summer. First of all, in May, when the blossoms were out, there were some really, really heavy rains that knocked a lot of the blossoms off the trees. Of course, it's the blossoms that become olives, so we lost a lot then. And then later on in the summer, a certain type of fly came along, and these flies drill holes into the olives and then lay eggs, which obviously become worms or maggots. And that ruins the olives. In fact, I can see one right here that's got the hole in it, and you can see it's been ruined.
Sì, si vede proprio il buco, sì.
So we've been talking to a lot of people in the area, and everybody's saying the same thing, that this year there might not be an olive harvest, which is a shame. I think we might have just enough oil to get us through for a few more months, and then we might have to go and buy it at the supermarket like everybody else and hope that next year it's better. One of the things that we can do is refill these bottles. Now, we often get asked, why are there empty bottles hanging on the trees? Well, they're not supposed to be empty. We need to fill them with a mixture of ammoniac and put an anchovy in it or something. There's a whole sort of like, there's all sorts of recipes that you can use. And then if you spray them, so our neighbour in Positano, he sprays the bottles yellow with just a can of yellow spray paint. So the yellow attracts the flies, and the flies then go into the bottle rather than into the olives. So that's all we can do. So next year we need to get ourselves together and get enough bottles and refill them all and try and save some of the olives. This is a japonica, Fatsia japonica, and originally we had this by the pool in the big terracotta pot, and it was slowly going yellow because these do not like direct sunlight. So earlier on in the summer we moved it here in the shade, and it is much, much healthier, and it's gone dark green again.
Adesso che vogliamo fare? Ci riposiamo un po', buttiamoci sul letto.
Yeah,
dai.
we don't use this bed enough. Right, that's it. I can't be bothered to go anywhere else in the garden. I'm going to just sit here now and relax. So I hope you've enjoyed our garden tour, and we'll see you in the next video.
Ciao!